Hey everybody, welcome to Draft Week Monday here on NFL Fantasy Live. Patrick Claybon here with Cynthia Freeland and Adam Rank, reminding you to go to NFL.com/fantasy to sign up and play. You could play with us. Adam Rank has a team, the People's United, in our fantasy league, which makes me wonder, Cynthia, are you concerned that Adam is getting all of our insights on the show to help these people beat us?
Do you actually think we're telling him the truth? Because that would be the real question. It's a double bind here, so perhaps I'm gaming you, Adam.
I don't like that at all. You know, we have a Hippocratic oath like a doctor. We have to give the best possible advice at all times. Listen, I'm sitting there on a plane flying out to my draft this weekend, and I'm sitting there with a couple of guys on this jet. And I got to get in the
private jet.
Not a private jet.
Listen, if you follow our fantasy advice, then you get to fly on a private
jet.
What better advertising is there
brought
than
in
that?
118 people at 7 in the morning from Long Beach, California. People were actually a little bit more festive than I thought at 7 in the morning.
They should be, because not only do we take an oath, we have a fiduciary responsibility to get you the best fantasy advice, and we're going to give Rank some more insight, because we're going to start with some fantasy debates, these discussions that you may have in your own head, an angel on one shoulder and another angel. These two will play the roles of both angels, I hear, because we got some top 10 picks.
I'm the real angel. He's the opposite.
There we go.
The un-angel.
You can decide.
It's Sosopoulos over here.
Who's the angel here? Because there's some decisions that you have to make starting early on in some of these drafts. So let's get started, Rank. Tyreek Hill or CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, I know. I don't want to get too concerned about the holdouts and everything like that, but I'm still going to go with Tyreek Hill. I think that this is probably the best option for you. Last season, he finished as the wide receiver too, but you have to remember that for a good portion of the season, he had a legitimate chance of attaining 2,000 receiving yards. It was something that Patrick was invested in the whole season.
Yes.
He had a touchdown in, I believe, like 12 of his first 13 games, and obviously the high ankle sprain in Week 14 kind of derailed him in the fantasy playoffs, but I'm not going to let that deter me, that if I'm sitting there and this is an opportunity to get the first wide receiver off the board, I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill.
Well, I mean, the answer is CeeDee Lamb. They're both great options, but for me, it's CeeDee Lamb. He was your number one fantasy player, 403.2 fantasy points. That's most in the NFL, not most for a wide receiver. Right. No, most. Name me a wide receiver on that team that you are afraid is going to Jalen Waddle his targets.
Brandon Cooks.
Yep. Okay. Got it. So CeeDee Lamb for me, his chemistry with Dak, they don't need the preseason. I'm not worried about that. I'm not besmirching anything. I'm just saying that 2 is more than 1. Math.
All right.
2 wide receivers catching more than 1 wide receiver. So we're going to go with CeeDee Lamb on this one.
I will ultimately make the decision here because you guys have both made spectacular points. Tyreek was on pace. I do have to go with the overall number 1 fantasy football player. So we'll give Cynthia the win here.
Oh.
And CeeDee Lamb the win as well. But Cynthia, now let's go to a running back discussion, because it's another decision people are having to make early on in the drafts. Bijan Robinson or Breece Hall?
Okay, so Bijan Robinson here gets the benefit of a brand new system. He's got a brand new quarterback. He's got a brand new opportunity. That defense is also significantly improved. This is a totally different team, but they still have a great O-line. And when you look at good defenses and you think about, okay, what happens when you have a lead? Rank?
You run the football.
Oh, you know who runs the football?
Tyler Algier.
Okay. All right. With Bijan, you're going to get a lot of volume, and in his second year, he forecasts to take a massive leap forward.
I love this. I really like that pick. He's obviously a first rounder for me, but it's always theory. Like, yeah, he could be the CMC or the Breece Hall of this team, or we could just draft a guy who went out and did it last year like Breece Hall. Last season, the running back 2 for a team that was quarterbacked by Zach Wilson. You should have gotten triple the points for any time Zach Wilson was handing him the football. He had 1 goal line carry last season. That was it. That was 62nd in the NFL. Now he's going back to the Jets, who improved the offensive line, brought in 2 veterans to play tackle. They drafted an offensive lineman. They passed on Brian Thomas Jr., which I don't know if that's going to be the right move eventually. But Breece Hall is going to be the center point of this offense, along with Garrett Wilson. So for me, I'm taking Breece Hall not only as the number 2 running back off the board, but as the number 2 player off the ball.
And you know what, Rank? You moved me. Coming into this discussion, I was thinking Bijan Robinson.
No way.
But there is an unknown, because Aaron Rodgers is coming. It's a new offense, a new quarterback. We don't know. Why not go with the guy who did it to an RB2 level last year? So if you're keeping score, 1-1. Let's go to wide receivers, Rank. 2 guys played together. They won a national championship. They're both very good. One would like to be paid like the other. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
We would all like to be paid like Justin Jefferson.
I still really like Justin Jefferson. And I know a lot. I've seen him slide over the weekend. I saw Justin Jefferson sliding, but to me, it's a little bit too much of an overreaction. He is still one of the most talented players in the NFL. He might be the best player in the NFL. I really, truly believe, as a Sam Darnold truther, as somebody who drives down the 5 and salutes the Denny's right across from San Clemente High School, home of the Tritons, I believe that Sam Darnold and this offense will still allow Justin Jefferson to be one of the top receivers in fantasy football. I think the offense is good. I think he doesn't really have a lot of competition there. I know that Jordan Addison has been going through some things. I really do believe that Justin Jefferson's going to get back to the levels where he was 2 years ago when everybody was drafting him over CMC. So I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson.
I love that. And when you're picking between like the two best things possible in this situation, you're going to look at minute differences. And for me, this one again comes down to the defense. I have some questions. The Bengals defense is pretty young. The middle of their defense is confusing. There's a lot of things. I love Lou Anarumo, but you know what's going to happen? They're going to need to throw the football more often. And I think we see that return to form of those deep passes. You saw Joe Burrow. Their connection was electric on deep passes specifically. I think we see the return to that this season. So I'm looking at Jamar Chase, and I'm just saying he wants the bag. Justin Jefferson has already gotten the bag. Money makes us motivated. Motivation means more fantasy points for me, so I'm going Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase going to try extra hard. I leaned towards Justin Jefferson, but then Rank said he was a Sam Darnold truther.
That's right.
And I'm going to give it to Cynthia there.
This is why I have to give you all the information, because I know you, knowing you how I know you. I knew that I was going to sink my cause by mentioning Sam Darnold. I knew what I was doing, but at the same time, I have to let other people know who might not have the aversion to Sam Darnold that it's going to be okay.
It's an affliction that's sweeping the nation. We'll see if it gets even worse this season. Let's go more wide receivers. Rank A.J. Brown or Amon-Ra St. Brown?
This is a very tough one. Let me talk about A.J. Brown, though, for a moment. I really like, again, when we talk about the top players in the draft, it really feels like people are sleeping on A.J. Brown just a little bit. He does have competition with the Slim Reaper on the opposite side of him. They brought in Saquon Barkley, but the one thing that I'm anticipating from this Eagles offense this season is that a shift away from the brotherly shove. Like it was great last year. It was wonderful. It worked. But I think now when they get in that red area, especially when they get near the goal line, they're probably going to defer a little bit more than they've done over the past. And I think that when you're near the goal line, there are no better options than A.J. Brown to take some of that production away from Jalen Hurts. But it also helps Jalen Hurts because he's throwing the touchdowns. So I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. I think that if you're sitting there at the 7 or 8 spot and you're kind of bummed out, no. A.J. Brown is going to be a fantastic find for you, and I'm going to go with him.
I like Brown, and I agree with you about him being undervalued in terms of where his draft position is. But you know what's better than Brown? A St. Brown. And this isn't even because I'm a Lions fan, which I clearly am a Lions fan, and I will admit it. This is an opportunity to get to be a part of an offense that's been top 5 since 2022 in almost every metric imaginable. And it's not like they're sitting here saying, hey, we've got all of these wide receivers. You've heard Dan Campbell say, we don't really know who that third wide receiver is yet. So when you're looking at the opportunity to get a lot of targets and to get, this is like the #1 red zone touchdown offense in all of football since 2022. So get a piece of it, baby. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, the Eagles add more talent. We're trying to of course, if you project a huge boost in JMO targets, it's not going to take away from Amon-Ra St. Brown targets. It's hard to go away from Amon-Ra St. Brown, so I will stay with Amon-Ra there.
That's fine. I kind of knew going in.
Again, all these guys are very good, and these arguments for them very good as well. Let's finish things up.
You did the homework first. You gave him to me.
But I know
just so we're clear.
Who you would want to talk about.
Fair. That was
be
nice
magnanimous.
of you.
We'll finish it up with a running back. 2 guys that are both going right at the end of the first round rank, Saquon Barkley or Jonathan Taylor.
It's so funny because I've split these guys down the middle when I've been given the opportunity to make a decision one way or the other. But when push comes to shove, I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley. And I really love this opportunity for the Eagles. Again, going back to what I was talking about a moment ago about the move away from the brotherly, at least I hope so. Like, there's a big reason why the Eagles folded down the stretch last year. I think you're putting your quarterback in harm's way a little too often. They go out there and they get Saquon Barkley and made him a big offseason acquisition. When you have a running threat like Jalen Hurts, it opens up the offense for everybody, including Saquon Barkley. I know people have concerns about the injuries, but you know what? You said that when the 49ers acquired Christian McCaffrey. Oh, I don't want him. He's been hurt in Carolina. Oh, all of a sudden, he goes to a really good team. He's no longer hurt. I expect the same thing from Saquon Barkley. 15 games, and he ends up as a top 4 fantasy running back.
I thought you were going to make some epic dad joke about push comes to shove, brotherly shove, but you didn't, but I made it in my head, whatever.
Fair.
All good. I'm looking at Jonathan Taylor, who, remember this time last year, it was very murky. Seemed like the vibes were off, but you know what? Vibes are very strong. I saw them up close and personal in Broncos preseason. Jonathan Taylor looked good. He didn't play in the game, but
still,
he looked very good on the sideline. No, he doesn't need to play in preseason. We're all good there. When I'm looking at the opportunity here, Anthony Richardson needs to stay healthy. He had a hard time staying on the field last year. And what do you do if you want to keep your second season, but still kind of rookie because he didn't play a ton of games last year, quarterback upright? You run the football with Jonathan Taylor. So for me, that's my pick.
And I think Anthony Richardson will be healthy, but when you have Anthony Richardson, the value he adds is being able to run the football. I think he takes some touchdowns away, so I will declare Rank and Saquon Barkley the winner. But you are all winners.
Yes.
Because you need to have these discussions in your head with 2 angels on your shoulders telling you how to go about your fantasy draft and get some wins, even if you're playing against this guy and all of America.